Hello, my name's Andy Schmuckler. I've been watching lately, having DVR'd the film Gandhi from what was it, 1984. I think it was Picture of the Year. It's a it's a magnificent piece of work, that movie, and uh, it portrays a man who's had a genius of a sort combined with a, a very extraordinary spirit that stood for profound good in a whole lot of ways. Studying under Eric Erickson at the time, he was working on his book about Gandhi, and I'm aware that he was a person who had real personal defects, like in how he treated his wife at this point in this way. Not everything about him was admirable, but this film depicts something which is uh, really quite beautiful to behold. And it is a marvel to watch how he navigates each of the situations in the film in ways that show just a real sense of how to grab hold of something in the world and move it, whether it's got to do with how he roused the people of India to see their potential as an independent nation, or how he dealt with the British and how they regarded him, and how the conflict between them over Indian independence unfolded over many years, and he eventually beat the British Empire. For a variety of reasons, but no small part was the nature of the leadership that he provided. He effected a major change in a fight against an unjust system. I also have a relationship with Gandhi where I've been sort of having to not belittle him, but point out its limits because of my own the core piece of my work, which is that book back there, The Parable of the Tribes, The Problem of Power and Social Evolution, is all about the problem of power and social evolution. How does one deal with there being a threatening power out there? And core to my whole view of the human story is there are different options for the people who confront an aggressive neighbor, but all of them involve becoming part of the growing system of power. And people, when I would give talks at universities back in the 1980s, where I present this grim picture of the civilization creating species with a war of all against all, everybody is compelled to enter into a ceaseless struggle for power, like what the Ukrainians are suffering from right now, from their more powerful neighbor. And people would not like the grimness of this picture that I give, but actually it turns out to be good news because we are better creatures than we've thought ourselves to be. It was the situation that required that things would have to go in that way. But the people who didn't like my argument that there is really only one way forward that civilization could go would say, oh no, there's a better solution. You don't have to meet power with power. You don't have to bring a sword to fight the guy with the sword. You could be like Gandhi. And I would say, and this is sort of one of the key points of this whole question, that there are some powers that you can deal with that way. In some situations, either the other side is fairly decent, or the other side feels compelled to appear at least decent. Whereas what I would say is, if there had been a Gandhi who rose up at the time when Soviet Union was under Stalin, say in the 1930s, they would have just simply been vanished. And likewise in Hitler's Germany, and I think Gandhi eventually came to say and to acknowledge that with someone like Hitler, I don't remember the language that he used to acknowledge this, that with someone like Hitler, his approach would not work. And I think that that's something relevant to where we are as Americans right now, where we also are looking for effective ways of fighting against a fascist tyranny that has been running roughshod over the Constitution and the rule of law in ways that are quite alarming to behold. We need to fight that. And I think that we're actually in a situation where Gandhi's approach may have some place, but it's wholly inadequate in this situation. We too are in the situation, I believe, where it is a more aggressive stance in the struggle for power that's required. One of the things about what Gandhi was able to do, not only did they not disappear him like Stalin or Hitler would have done, but he was dramatizing again and again before an audience out there in London. The people and the government didn't want to look bad, and also they had a certain amount of humane values. So you could be like Gandhi and be sent to prison, which he didn't mind a couple of times in the course of this movie. Or you'd have to fight. If you did what he did in going to prison, he remained a figure. He remained something around which people could rally. He was continually using the fact that there was free flow of information and it was having an impact on publics, and it also engaged the conscience of the country. Well, in today's Republican Trumpian world, there is no conscience in that part of the world, and it is more or less, though we're not dealing with concentration camps and other forms of coercion with the Trumpian world yet. Nonetheless, it's basically whether the power being wielded by the fascist side will be blocked not by a moral appeal, but by victory. But part of the victory is also the moral appeal. So we need to be fighting, I think, not just in a Gandhian way, but with all the might of smiting against this thing that can be mustered, just like had to be done for the fascist power in Berlin that had brought a nightmare to the world, had to be defeated by the combined forces of the United States, Great Britain, even Stalin's Russia, et cetera, et cetera. That there was a war that needed to be fought. It is not a war that escapes the need to struggle for power directly. But because we're not dealing with anything with conscience over there, there's no way that the Gandhian approach can be sufficient. Just ignore something which doesn't go at them in the terms that ultimately decide who gets to decide. But having said that, I do think that Gandhi shows how the conscience matter might be brought into play. And if there's a chance, for example, that popular support can be drained from this fascist power by appealing to the conscience aspects of the people on whom Donald Trump has been relying for support, if the popularity of the thing can be drained of its power through not just beating it in court and denouncing it in very aggressive ways, which I think we need to be doing, but at the same time also there may be ways of creating events the way Gandhi did. Like with his march to the sea that broke the British Empire on the subject of the monopoly over salt. Ways of dramatizing things that will reach people and enlist the sympathy of people whose sympathy needs to switch sides to drain that fascist thing that's taken power of at least some of the power that it wields in the ongoing struggle about whether in 5 or 10 years we're going to be a fascist society, an authoritarian society, where the few are exploiting the many, or whether we're going to at least get back on the track that America was on before, where there is a genuine process by which the power of the gangsters gets controlled and the people get to have at least a meaningful say in what happens with power in the United States of America. This is as profound a battle as a society can have. It is a battle over the soul of the country. And it's interesting that a country can have a soul that at a crossroads might become as dark as what we see, say, in Putin's Russia. Or it could become as bright as what we've seen in America in most of its history, comparatively speaking, with the dark history of most of civilized humankind. Now, I would like to offer also a way to see the whole battle and the nature of the battlefield in this human story. abetterhumanstory.org is where I lay out a whole lot of this stuff that the nature of a battle that's been going on at the center of civilization that we Americans right now are engaged in a very intense form of it. Will we be a democracy where the power rises from the people to the ruler, or will we be some kind of fascist regime where power goes down from the unchecked, lawless ruler to use the people to satisfy the kind of human ugly desires that you would expect to find in somebody who would impose his will as a fascist dictator. Donald Trump is being a perfectly good case, and maybe the thing to do to fight is to get as many people to see what a human monster is being represented by Donald Trump, denouncing it in as powerful a way, not the gentle ways of Gandhi, but then also ways of dramatizing it that Gandhi would have chosen. I don't have anything particular to answer. Can you have a general strike? Are parades, are marches very good? How do you have a mass of people try to communicate and move a mass of people on another side of the battle to gain their sympathy, to get them to, I don't know if there's a way. But Gandhi was very inventive. Maybe we can be inventive too. Thanks. Andy Schmuckler, abetterhumanstory.org. Bye-bye.